I've been climbing with the Ondra comps pretty much exclusively in the gym for a while now, and here's what I can tell you about them. For starters, let's go with the fit. The fit of the Ondra comp is a weird fit to say the least, and I say weird in a good way. I mean, by far, these are probably one of the most comfortable shoes I've been in straight out of the box. I mean, it was so comfortable out of the box that I actually thought that I needed to downsize these more because I felt like it was too good to be true. And I did downsize these in my normal downsize, which is a 41.5, and I wear a 44. The fit of them is just, they're different. Your toes are crammed still, like don't get me wrong, it's not like I have these in my normal downsize and my feet are flat. They're definitely curled. But this is also a shoe that has a very higher volume and higher toe box profile than something even like the Theories. I mean, it's pretty crazy to go back and forth from the Theories to the Ondra comp and to actually feel that there is a toe box difference. Now, this toe box difference actually has a lot of performance applications, as I believe that the higher toe box just allows the shoe to deform better. So you're going to be able to get better smearing on walls and on volumes. But the big thing is it's not going to crush your toes. In the video where I talked about the Theories, I mentioned that the Theories have a tendency to bruise my foot in a certain location. It's because the rubber is pinching that spot. Whereas in the Ondra comps, I haven't had any of that. And I think it's just due to the toe box being higher, so then when you are really deforming the shoe, it's not pinching your foot and it's allowing your foot to kind of move within the shoe. So overall, the fit is, you have to get used to it. You have to get used to a kind of a loose fitting shoe while it's still being tight. But after about, maybe 3 or 4 sessions, you get really used to it, and it'll make you never want to wear like another shoe again. I mean, it's pretty weird to be wearing this for long gym sessions. I'm talking maybe like 4, sometimes 5 hours, and I feel perfectly fine having this shoe on for that duration of time. Granted, yes, my feet start to hurt, but it's like more comfortable than trying to be in the Solution comps for that long. And that's the biggest difference, is switching back to other shoes just for like a day or two. It's pretty wild to see how comfortable they are, especially for indoor climbing. Now, I suppose we should probably get to one of the main points, is the performance of these shoes. Now, the big kind of highlight with this shoe was its smedging capabilities. It's the combination of smearing and edging. Think about like small little dual text foot chips that are on there to cause your feet misery. That's what this shoe is really kind of designed to tackle, as well as being able to press right against the wall or just to run on a volume. Like, that's what this shoe was designed for. And when you use it, it's really crazy just how big of an advantage these shoes have over a lot of other Sportiva shoes. Like, granted, you don't have the super aggressive toe hook like that's present in the Solutions, or even the Squamas for that matter. But the ability to deform the sole more, I mean, it's pretty wild to also be able to use these for some decent overhangs as well. Now, you definitely get more fatigued with these shoes on hard overhangs because you're putting more pressure into your foot and especially into your toes to stay on the hold, but they work. But even though they work, like, they're definitely not the most efficient. Like, if you switch to the Solution comps, you're going to see a big difference in performance on overhangs, or even just trying to hook onto a hold. I know that's been pretty true whenever I've used these, that whenever you're on a pretty decent kind of overhang and you're like starting a boulder problem, these shoes definitely have a hard time sticking to small footholds. I find that a lot of times when I would go to start a problem or even make a move on a tiny foothold, a lot of times the toe would just shear off. And I mean, it makes sense when your toe can just deform like that. Whereas if you have something like the Solution comp that's more stiff and more rigid, it just wants to like purchase on that foothold. Whereas the Ondra comp just kind of deforms around it, and you're just hoping that the friction of the shoe will keep you on. And I find it's a 50-50 toss-up between if you're going to stick onto that foothold or if you're going to shear right off. And that's the issue of having a really soft shoe. So in certain circumstances, especially with overhangs and all that, and small, very small footholds on overhangs, it's kind of a weak point for the Ondra comps. But I would say for like 85% of the climbing that you do in the indoor scene, this shoe excels at. And I will say that the smedging aspect of these, where you can kind of like edge and smear at the same time, they work really well. But it is interesting because you definitely you're putting a lot of pressure into your toe, and it really depends on how strong your toe is. Like the midsole's not going to do all the work, but there is a little bit more resistance there with an added little midsole that makes it so you can kind of edge on these small little holds. But your foot is doing a lot more of the work. And you just kind of have to be aware of that. But if you've got a strong foot and a strong toe and you're really focusing that power on that toe, I mean, these things will edge pretty good. But are they going to be the best at edging? Definitely not. But that's not what they're built for. They're built for smearing and a little bit of edging and smedging. And I feel like that's the thing that you almost just have to use these for yourself to understand of you just stick to the wall. I mean, it's definitely crazy to walk up the wall on like an undercling or an overhang. You just like go straight up and not have your feet slip out. That's a really crazy thing. And even when working on slab problems, you get way more friction with this shoe than even something like the Theories, which are a pretty soft shoe from Sportiva. I mean, I would probably say that the only shoe that's as soft as this might be the Mantra, because there's so little to that shoe. Whereas this shoe, there's more to it, but it's just incredibly soft. So overall, performance of the shoe, it's a beast in the gym, but is it going to be the best for everything? No, I would definitely say it's good for probably 85% of the climbing. If you're doing a lot of overhangs and a lot of strenuous overhangs or you're just trying to hook on tiny little footholds, it's definitely not the strongest shoe for that. There are definitely stronger shoes like the Solution Comp. But in a pinch, it can handle it. It's a little bit more intense to do it. If we're talking about the performance, we should probably talk about the downsides of this shoe. And I don't have many for this shoe. I mean, basically what I just kind of brought up in the performance section, that is kind of like a downside, but it's not really a downside. I mean, it's the trade-off of having a soft shoe. I mean, that's pretty, yeah, like it's just the trade-off. But my only real downsides with this shoe are probably the heel. I'm not a huge fan of the heel. It feels very similar to the Theories heel, and I'm not a huge fan of the Theories heel. I find that this heel shears off way more than any shoe that I've used. And it has gotten a little bit better since like day one of using it. I think the rubber has broken in a lot more and the heel cup has kind of formed better. But it's definitely not the shoe that I go for heel hooks. I mean, it's definitely the forefoot area is where the main focus of the shoe is. It's not the heel. But in a pinch, the heel works, but it's definitely not the best. And probably my only big gripe about this shoe is that it really just dyes your foot. And it is kind of funny because there is that split color in the sole. So you really end up having half of your foot be black and half of your foot be yellow. I mean, I thought that the like staining would get better as the longer I use this shoe. It hasn't. It's really just, I almost want to say it's gotten worse. Like my toes are like almost permanently dyed now and my toenails are dyed. That's a weird thing. I'm not a huge fan of that, but that's my gripe. That's my big gripe. And it's just crazy that for this long, this shoe has been dyeing my feet. I mean, if that's really my only gripe that I have about the shoe, it goes to show you how good of a shoe this actually is. Now overall, would I say the Ondra Comp is the best shoe? I wouldn't say it's the best shoe. Would I say that it's probably one of the best shoes that you can get for the indoor scene? Yes. Now is it the best like general climbing shoe? No. I mean, this is a specialized tool. I mean, you kind of have to look at it in that aspect. This is a tool for the indoor bouldering scene. That's what it was designed for, and that's what it works really well with. And I'm not saying that you can't do outdoor climbing with it. I mean, you can, but I also think that there's other shoes that are better for outdoor climbing. And just, that's kind of the story of this whole Ondra Comp, that when I've been using it, it's been really good for basically everything, but it does have its weaknesses. But As long as you know those weaknesses and know that you can work around them or just get maybe a little bit more creative with the beta, like you can make these shoes work for you really well in the gym. And I know that when I've been using them, they've definitely made me more confident climbing in the gym. And a lot of that is just having more confidence in smearing. I mean, if you're doing a lot of kind of smearing in the gym, this shoe might be one of the best for that. So if you're looking for that really soft gym shoe that can edge just a little bit, the Ondra might be the perfect thing for you.